Spoke to Don Charles, obviously Daniel Dubois since returned to Don Charles. That's not alien within the boxing sphere, but usually there's a fight in between, or fights that happen before they might return to training. Before I get to Dan returning to Don, Don had said in one of his interviews on Seconds Out that if he wasn't going to return to him, he wanted Daniel to go back to yourself. Was that ever a conversation? Was the door knocked from Daniel's team that he might return to yourself?
No comment.
Okay. What do you think about the return of Daniel to Don and that fit there?
Great. Yeah. I got a lot of time for Daniel, and I think he's a fantastic fighter. And I've got a lot of time for Don Charles, and I think they work really well together.
What does Daniel need at this point in his career to regain a world title? If it's not against Alexander Usyk, if it's against like Fabio Wardley, which is apparently a rumoured fight there, what does he need to flick a switch for to get him over the line again?
Just exciting fights, entertainment, and he's a phenomenal puncher. He's had a few setbacks now, but that kind of shapes a fighter. And I think when you're 17 years of age and you're knocking people out, like knocking grown men out and knocking professionals out like he was, you can ride on confidence a little bit. And I think the Joe Joyce fight really knocked his confidence back. But since then, he's taken it in his stride a lot better. He hasn't. He's learnt from those. I don't think he really learnt much from the Joe Joyce fight. I think he's learnt a lot from the Usyk fights. He's learnt a lot from his wins as well as his losses. So, he's. Some people mature slightly later on in life in terms of for experience. You could have a load of fights in your early 20s, but there's not. You're not getting anything from them. But where he's got his experience from now, he's got them from the Miller fights, his Lorena fights, things like that, and obviously AJ and those sort of experiences. He's seen big time boxing, and you've got Fabio Wardley there, Daniel has a lot more experience than him, and I think that would be a great fight for Daniel. Both massive punchers, but it will be who stays disciplined the most, and I think it's definitely a winnable fight.
Does he beat him? Do you think? Would you put him the favourite?
If he boxes him, yes. If he goes out there, tries to knock him out, I don't think so.
Do you think Daniel can be disciplined?
He's brilliant at boxing. He's got a great jab. He's got good feet. He's so well balanced. People don't see what that guy can do in the gym. Like he can light it up. He's got so much talent. But I think a lot of the time, the occasion has got to him and taken him away from staying disciplined. But as I said before, those experiences have really shaped him. And I think, Fabio Wardley would be a great fight, but it is not, look at what he did to Parker. But Parker went in there trying to knock him out. I don't think that's the plan. I think, you can't, like Fabio's been hurt and he looks hurt many times in his career, but he's always like, he's got that Nigel Benn. He's at his most dangerous when he's on rocky legs. So yeah, you just got to stay disciplined and keep him on the stick.